What's up everybody, and welcome back to Operation Overhaul. And today we're going to be working on the 91 Accrod again, and this time we're going to be doing the rear motor mount. And as you can see, this is it right here. Let me shine a light on it for you. And she is a little cumbersome as to the size of it. And on these, they are 3 different motor mounts that go on the rear portion of this. So you need to see which one you have. One of them is for a manual, and then 2 of them are for an automatic. And on the automatics, the difference is right here. Sorry, let me put my light back on. So right here, we see like the little hole. It's either going to have a vacuum diagram, or diaphragm, not diagram, but a vacuum diaphragm, or it won't. And mine does not have one, but the problem is it is way down in there. You can kind of see the bolts past that hose right here, and we'll have to try to snake up in there and try to pull it out. So if you're interested in seeing this, stick with me and chime on. And try to get y'all in here where y'all can see what I am doing. I know it's a little loud right there. I'm going to put a underhood light and my little mini flashlight down there. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually pull this air tube off right here, just so I can get better clearance down into the motor. Because like I said, the motor mount is right here, and it's hidden by some of these coolant lines and some of these vacuum lines and all that stuff. So we got the tube off right here. This right here came off too, but it was just stuck up on it right on the top. Just be careful of all the vacuum lines. Make sure you don't break any of them or any of that good stuff. And then right here is the main bolt for the motor mount. I can rock the engine and you can see it. See, it's just completely broken. And I did replace the front torque strut mount on this already, but we're going to take this bolt out first. Then there's going to be 2 bolts on the passenger side and 1 on the driver's side. The one on the driver's side is going to be your hardest one to get to. So your main bolt is going to be a 17mm. This may be a little tight. I can't remember if there's a nut on the back or if it's welded on. If I remember correctly, it should be welded on. And if you can't see, sorry about that. Once I pull the bolt out, I will show it to you. I'm going to use my electric ratchet to pull the rest of the way. That's your bolt right there. Like I said, 17mm. And now that we have that, you can see that the engine moves freely. Now we need to get to these 2 bolts right here. I'm thinking they're like 13s or 14s. Feeling more like a 13. Nope, must be a 14. Let me see if I can get some extensions in there. The bolt is right here. I know it's kind of hard to see on some of this, but the bolt is right down there. And it is extremely tight. Yep, she was pretty tight. Should be able to get it with my ratchet now. That's the bolt right there. Now let's go to the next one. That one wasn't all that tight. Now let's see if we can get to bolt number 3. That's going to be the hard one to get to. Bolt number 3 is right under the intake. Let me see if I can see it with the light on the other side. Let me see if I can get this one out, and then I'll be right back. Alright, as you can see, I had to take the upper part of the intake off. I do believe that the USA version of these do not have this spacer plate in between it, because this is a JDM engine that's in this. So it has the spacer plate with the flapper valve in it, as you can see. And to remove this, you have some vacuum lines, 1, 2, like 3, 4, looks like about 4 cooling lines that go to it. It has some vacuum lines on the back as well. And then once you get that off, you have 2 studs and 3 bolts that go into the lower portion of the intake. And then the intake will pull out. Oh, and then you have your TV cable and your throttle cable as well, and that will pull out. And if you look down in there, that is where the last bolt is, and the throttle body actually gets in the way on this portion right there. And I got a 14 millimeter with a 3-inch and a 1-inch extension on there with a swivel, and then I have more extensions coming out. And we're going to try to break this loose right here now, and I'll let you watch me as I try to do this. Do not know how successful this will be, especially on camera. Let me get this where I can actually turn it a little more. All right. Yeah, she's on there pretty good. Let's see if I can pull. Ooh. Well, pretty sure y'all heard that snap right there. That was it breaking loose. Let's see if we can, yep, should be able to thread it out by hand now. I'd say she was pretty tight. Hopefully it didn't break the bolt. I don't think it did. Just think it was that tight. Alright, the bolt just hit the floor, and I do believe we have it out now. Let me see if I can fish this out. Oh yeah, she's moving freely now. If I can get this out of the way. And I may have to take this heater hose off just so I can clear it. For safety, I'm going to go ahead and pull this back heater hose off as well. So in order to get this out, I had to take all the heater hoses off and the heater control valve right here. And as you can see, I had to cut my heater hose just to get it off. And then the only way I got it out was the mount was separated. So here's the old one. And I had to take the cage off the top of it as well, because it goes like this. But it was separated. Here's the new one right here. And it has a cage that goes over the top of it like that. You're going to have to take that cage off just to get it in and out. And it is a pain in the butt to do it without lifting the engine up. I do recommend you loosening this right here so you can rock the engine back and forth. And I'm going to loosen that up some more and probably go ahead and take the bolt out so I can actually get it to move as much as possible. But once I get it back in there, I'll show you how I'm going to put everything back together, and I'll show you the procedure for putting the heater control valve back on. It's pretty simple. It's just like a 10 millimeter bolt, like a little pop clip on it, like a metal one, and then you can just pry the little wire that wraps around the valve up and you should be good. But I'll show you how I pulled that off whenever I go to install it. I'll just explain it better then. So this is the part number. It's 8011, but when you go to look it up, you're going to have to put a C in front of it, so it should be C8011, and that's your part number for the motor mount. As you can see, we have the motor mount back on, but we're waiting on a few parts from the parts store at the moment. We got some heater hose, a heater control valve, and some coolant coming because we're going to have to refill the coolant system, and the heater control valve was leaking anyway, and it was a little old. That's just a little extra bonus I'm going to throw in on the video for y'all. Let me see what I did with it. Here's the heater control valve. That side has two Phillips head screws. It goes to a mount. Then you're going to have to take the little bracket off, and it does go one way. It's kind of like the outline of a house shape. It's got like a roof pitch on top of it, and as you can see, it was about time for it to go anyway, because we had some of the plastic breaking off, and that's not really a good thing on these heater valves, and you really don't want it going into the engine or the heater core or any of that. And then I got some heater hose coming, and once I get to the point where I'm putting all that back together, I will show you how it goes together on the bracket and everything, and that way y'all know how to do that. So if you wanted to change that at the same time as your motor mount, now would be a great time to do that, because you will have to kind of move it out of the way if you're not going to do it by service specs, because service states that you should actually lift the engine up a little bit in order to do this motor mount. But if you just play around with it a little bit, you can squeeze it out between the charcoal canister and the engine. You just have to kind of maneuver it around a little bit and take off this front mount. You don't have to take it off completely, just unbolt it right here, just enough to let the engine rock. And as you can see, engine doesn't rock at all anymore. So as soon as these parts get here, I'll come back and we'll finish putting it all together. So it got dark on me, and I didn't want to make a video in the dark, and I couldn't really showcase what I wanted to in the video, but I did want to explain something to y'all, like how this right here went together. And this, the new one comes with new screws. I know there's kind of a shadow on here. Right, this screw right here goes in the top of the new heater control valve, and that houses the lever. And if you look real close, you can see the shape I'm talking about. If I can get it to focus. Right there, it's kind of like the outline of a house. And the lever can only go on one way. And on the factory one, if you look, the bolts only go in one side, but on the replacement, it has it on both sides. So you need to see which way the original one is to make sure you put the bracket on the right way. And it does have arrows as to which way it goes, because this feeds the actual heater core, and it comes out of the other line. So this is the feed line. So make sure that you put it with the arrow going towards the heater hose, heater core. And then, like I said, it comes with all new screws, or just Phillips heads, and the little Phillips heads on the side hold the bracket on. And you don't have to crank down on them, because it's just going into plastic. And the new one, you will have to pretty much make new threads, because it's just a blank canvas when you get it. It's kind of like if you've ever worked on BMW, anything plastic they have, you have to pretty much make your own threads with the screws they provide. But I also replaced the coolant bypass hose, the hose that goes from the heater control valve to the heater core, and you cannot use regular heater hose. You have to use the pre-molded one because of the tight bends, and you will get some kinks in it. And I do have the part numbers right here. One of the part numbers is a 18701. One is an 18441, and then I got another hose that was a 18774. And it is this hose right here, the one that goes from right here to the heater core, and it makes like a sharp S bend on it. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here it is right here. See how it does like an S, and it's kind of a short run too, so you will get some major kinks in it if you try to actually bend the hose that way. And just make sure you get the hose right. It goes this way. I had to cut it to get it off, but it goes like this, and it's hard to get the clamp on this side because it's close to the other heater core line. And whenever you do that, just make sure you get the hose on the top of it. If you don't, you're gonna regret it because you won't be able to let your pliers go. But like I said, that is the part numbers for it. It was 18441, 18774, 18701, and all of those are Gates hoses. And then I think that's pretty much it on all of that. Like I said, I did get it running, and I do have it bled of the system. But if you have any comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Until next time, y'all have a great day.